The best news in technology and beyond. This is Crockel's News.
This is Angel Garden reporting on crime and cyber technology. Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services issued a report at the end of September which acknowledged a severe lack of proper vetting of police officers. The report highlighted individual cases like that of Palvinder Singh from Smethwick, Birmingham, who sent sexual text messages to vulnerable victims while at work and who was jailed for 14 months. In one day while on duty, he contacted a domestic abuse victim 399 times. Meanwhile, Ian Nord from Shropshire was jailed for 25 years for raping and assaulting a 13-year-old who he met while serving as a student officer with Cheshire Police. That's just 2 cases, but the Director of Constabulary, Zoe Billingham, said there are an estimated 35,000 people working in police forces who don't have the required levels of vetting at the moment. Now, it seems to me that if there's less police officers, which they're estimating about 20,000 or 21,000 less, and a higher proportion of the officers that there aren't being vetted, then the overall portion of unvetted officers is rising. So I asked Jonathan Bishop what we can do about this. Hello there, Jonathan.
Hi there, Angel.
So I wanted to know why you think this problem's happening and what we can do about it.
Well, I want to introduce a new structure for policing. I want to separate the police who investigate from the police you might see on the beat. So on the beat you have civil enforcement wardens and street care wardens. These two go out together. And if necessary, civil enforcement warden trained to be a special constable, and that would then turn them into a PCSO, a police community support officer. So what you would then have are civil enforcement wardens with many of the powers that the police have, and with them a street care warden, so they could issue the tickets and make the arrests, and the street care wardens could actually clean up the mess as they're patrolling the communities. So they would be more for collecting intelligence because the police aren't prioritising shoplifting. Well, if you've got a PCSO or civil enforcement warden in a town centre, it's easy for them to go and collect the evidence to then send off to the National Crime Agency.
Yeah.
So they cost 50% less than a police constable. So we can abolish police constables because the only constables we need are detective constables and detective constable inspectors, the people who actually solve the crime. So under that system, the cost would be reduced, and it would be more important to have the checks on the detectives rather than the lower officers, the civil enforcement, PCSOs and street care wardens.
So, but they would still be police then, would they?
Well, the civil enforcement wardens, if they became special constables, they would be police.
Right. So there'd be a level of kind of police helpers that weren't actually police.
Yeah, that's essentially it. They'd be law enforcement, but they wouldn't have the sort of investigatory powers you might see in a television drama, for instance.
Those would be reserved for detective constables. So would they be a voluntary post, or you're anticipating them being paid?
Yeah, so the civil enforcement warden and street care wardens in Rhondda and Taff in Wales currently get paid the same. If the civil enforcement warden was to do the special constable training, then they'd get paid what they're getting paid, they just have more powers.
So do you know what they do earn?
When I did my original research, they were earning around £19,000. So you could have a civil enforcement warden and a street care warden for the cost of one police constable.
So what is the extra cost then? Is it training or?
I'd have civil enforcement wardens as the first level of training for anyone in law enforcement, including door steward at nightclubs, and the construction workers who turn the stop-go signs on the street.
What about lollipop people then?
Well, yeah, they would probably need the training too because they're managing traffic.
Thanks, Jonathan, and we'll catch up about this a bit later on.
Thanks very much.
The best news in technology and beyond. This is Crockel's News.